30 countries. 1 month. Schools shut. Shops dark by 9. Elevators off. Fuel rationed by QR code. Wednesdays canceled. Not in a war zone. Not under occupation. In peacetime. In countries that didn't fire a single bullet. Your grandfather had a ration card, paper, stamped by hand, 1 loaf of bread, 1 bottle of oil. That was 1943. That was a world war. Today, a taxi driver in Sri Lanka opens his phone, scans a QR code. The screen says 15 liters. That is his fuel for the entire week. The government turned Wednesday into a mandatory holiday. Not to celebrate anything, to save fuel. 80 years of progress, and the car is back. It just runs on software now. Oops. This is not one country in crisis. This is 30 countries in crisis. At the same time, for the same reason. A war that most of them didn't start, didn't join, and didn't vote for, just rewrote daily life across 5 continents. And the head of the International Energy Agency just said April will be twice as bad as March. This is not a shortage. This is a system downgrade. 30 countries didn't run out of energy. They were told to use less of it. And the question nobody is asking is the one that should keep you up at night. Is this the cost of today's war, or a rehearsal for the next one? By the end, you'll understand 3 things. How one 33-kilometer strait shut down daily life in 30 countries overnight. Why the ration card your grandfather carried just came back, only digital. And why a taxi driver in Colombo can't feed his family on Wednesdays anymore. Let's call him Nimal, 44, drives a tuk-tuk in Colombo, Sri Lanka. His fuel cost is his biggest expense. More fuel, more rides, more rice on the table. On March 15th, the government introduced a QR-coded fuel system. Every vehicle registered, every liter tracked. Nemo gets 15 liters a week. His tuk-tuk burns 3 liters a day, 5 working days of fuel. But Wednesday is now a mandatory holiday for conservation. So Nemo works 4 days with 5 days of fuel and feeds a family of 4 on the income of 3.5. Stay with me. Here is the machine. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched joint airstrikes on Iran. Iran retaliated by closing the Strait of Hormuz, a 33-kilometer passage between Iran and Oman. 20% of the world's oil and 1/5 of its natural gas squeezed through that gap every day. When Iran shut it, the pipe didn't slow down. It stopped. The exact trigger is debated, but within days, the dominoes fell. Not in one country, everywhere. What economists now call an energy lockdown, a forced reduction in how much energy a country lets its people use. In Pakistan, schools closed for 2 weeks. Government offices went to 4 days. Weddings were capped at 200 guests in one dish. In Egypt, shops and restaurants were ordered to close early. Street lights were dimmed. In the Philippines, a national energy emergency was declared. 425 gas stations shut down. Fuel prices doubled. In Myanmar, cars with odd-numbered plates drive one day, even numbers the next. In Bangladesh, universities closed early. Shopping malls shut by 8. In Thailand, elevators were restricted. Air conditioning capped at 27 degrees. Civil servants told to wear short sleeves. In South Sudan, the capital went to rotational blackouts. In Ethiopia, fuel to the Tigray region was suspended entirely. 30 countries, 5 continents, fuel rationing, school closures, curfews, dimmed streets, canceled Wednesdays. All within 1 month of a war 12,000 kilometers away. Oops, and here is the unlikely connection. Your grandfather's ration card from 1943 and Nimal's QR code from 2026 do exactly the same thing. They decide how much of the world you're allowed to consume. The card is digital now. The stamps are scans. But the mechanism is identical. 80 years of progress, and the tool of control hasn't changed. It just got a software update. Now look at the numbers. Brent crude surged over 60% in March, the biggest monthly jump since the 1980s. The IEA released 400 million barrels from reserves, the largest coordinated release in history. And IEA Director Fatih Birol said this on April 1st. In April, there is nothing. The loss of oil will be twice the loss of March. That is not a forecast. That is an obituary. Meanwhile, in India, the human cost arrived before the statistics. Restaurants lost their fire. 30 to 50% of commercial gas was cut overnight. Roughly 10,000 establishments closed in Tamil Nadu alone. A kebab shop owner in Delhi, who worked 25 years, watched his income drop from 15,000 to 5,000 rupees in a single week. A gas cylinder that cost 1,000 rupees now costs 3,500 on the black market. That is not inflation. That is extortion wearing a price tag. Migrant workers started leaving the cities, not because they wanted to go home, because they couldn't afford to stay. A war he never voted for just erased a life he spent 10 years building. Oops, Imel checks his QR code on a Tuesday night. 14 leaders used, 1 left. Tomorrow is Wednesday. The government says rest. Imel says I can't afford to rest, but I can't afford to drive either. His wife cuts the vegetables thinner. His daughter's school is open, but the bus route was shortened to save fuel. She walks the last 2 kilometers. The tuk-tuk sits in the driveway, clean, full of nothing. Now the pushback. The war disrupted supply. Rationing is temporary. Reserves are being released. Prices will stabilize. Temporary. There's that word again. Fair enough. But here is the mechanism question. If 30 countries can be downgraded overnight by a single choke point, the system was never stable. It was just lucky. And if the ration card from 1943 can return in 2026 with nothing but a QR code update, then 80 years of progress was not built on a foundation. It was built on a supply line. And supply lines break. Now let's go back to the question that should keep you up at night. Is this the cost of today's war, or a rehearsal for the next one? Because here is what nobody is saying. 30 countries just learned how to ration. They built the QR codes, the curfews, the 4-day weeks, the digital tracking. These systems don't disappear when the crisis ends. They sit in a drawer, ready. The next time a choke point closes, the playbook is already written. The infrastructure of restriction is now installed. That should concern you more than the price of oil. And here is the deeper question this channel exists to ask. Every one of these 30 countries chose the same response. Cut the people's share. Ration the household. Dim the streetlight. Not one of them asked the other question. What if instead of spreading austerity to the people, we spread the income to the people? What if the record profits of the oil traders were taxed to cushion the blow? What if the system that rations Nimel's fuel also rationed the margins of the people selling it? Scarcity hits. The cost flows down. The profit flows up. Nimel gets 15 liters. The oil trader gets a record quarter. That is not a law of nature. That is a choice. War has never had a winning people. Not on the losing side. Not on the winning side. The wealth flows to the same few. The restrictions flow to everyone else. Every time. 3 things to carry with you. Economic, 1 straight. 33 kilometers. 30 countries downgraded in 30 days. Reserves buy weeks. The crisis buys years. Social. The ration card is back. Digital, tracked, scannable. Your grandfather would recognize it. 80 years changed the tool. It didn't change who gets rationed. Global. If one war in 1 strait did this, what happens when the next choke point closes? Malacca, Suez, Bosporus. The world built its economy on the assumption that narrow water stays open. That assumption just died in Hormuz. Remember the QR code? NYML scans it every morning. 15 liters. 5 days. One canceled Wednesday. One family of 4. 80 years ago, his grandfather held out a paper card and hoped the line wasn't too long. Different century. Same line. Same limit. Same question. Who decided how much of the world NYML is allowed to use? And will that number ever go back up? If energy restrictions are changing how you live, work, cook, or drive, tell me what it looks like in your country. Drop it in the comments. If this changed how you hear the word temporary, stick around. We follow the money, not the headlines.